need to stretch before I start here. Hi, my name is Beth Lazlo. I'm the director of the Center for Business and Industry Services at Big Bend Community College in Moses Lake, Washington here. I have to tell you, I worked in the private sector and I worked in the public sector. And what's interesting about what I do now is I actually serve both those sectors. What I do is bring workforce training and education opportunities to our area. I'm really passionate about it. I hope that exudes in my presentation today, because I've seen what a difference it can make to an industry and to the employees that work there. So today I was tasked to give a perspective on how employers, colleges, and port districts can work together. And I want to do that today, but I also want to make sure that I give you the information that you can take back and translate this information back to your areas as well. So let's first talk about workforce education and training. In our area, specifically in the Adams County, Grant County, and the little piece of Lincoln County that we serve in our district area, employers are listing both the entry-level positions as well as the upper-level skilled positions all at the same time. And if you can only imagine the interruption that that has with productivity. There's several levels of workforce training and education. As partners in the Central Basin system, we obviously include the employers. Those are first and foremost for us. We work together though to support adults who enter the workforce. We train the experienced worker, the incumbent worker, to maybe retool their skills because new tools are needed at their industry. Or we work on upskilling them with the hopes of maybe getting a promotion, whether that's internally in the industry that they currently work at or externally with another industry. We coordinate our recruitment efforts to fill industry needs, as well as when those industries are expanding, like we're seeing in our area, especially right now. We bring resources to our area to provide expertise and training. And we provide our local K-12 system, as well as our community college system, access to our local industry. Our goal is always to collaborate toward our community's economic success. So to give you a little bit of information about Big Bend Community College specifically, that is our service district. It is Grant, Adams, and a little bit of Lincoln County, as you can see there. Typical with a community college, we not only serve the academic parts of what we offer at the college to our students on campus, but we can also be the facilitator and the incubator. And we are just one of many partners that work together on a larger team of workforce development efforts. And that's usually off campus. Specifically in the Central Washington area, we cover about 4,600 square miles. It's a very large area, and that includes 15 different communities throughout that space. We have a really diverse industry population in our service district. I think all service districts, if you talk to any community college out there, they all feel challenged by the diversity in their industries. But I really do believe that at Big Bend Service District, we have a very diverse community. And some of that includes, we'll be going up to Odessa in Adams County and maybe providing some drone training to them, to the wheat farmers, the grain farmers. At the same time, we'll be working with Grant County PUD and doing drone training for them. Sorry, Vista. We'll be down in Othello in the Adams County area, providing CDL training to the food storage facility down there. We're looking at the big buildings where we have our largest food processor and taking leadership and maybe microbiology training directly to their location. And at the same time, going over to Quincy, over in Grant County, and bringing a systems administrator certification to the data centers over in Quincy. So to dive down just a little bit further into the actual community college system, so again, that you can translate this and know what services can be offered in your area. A typical community college structure, I think, is what we have at Big Bend. And that is, there is the academic side, that's the 4-credit degrees, transfer degrees, certificate programs. We have a robust career and testing center. And then we have our community continuing education department, and that's the department that I oversee, which is called the Center for Business and Industry Services at Big Bend. It typically is the non-credit programming. So that includes professional development, CEUs for the professionals, non-degree, non-credit, workforce training, contracted training, and personal enrichment and community education. The for-credit programs, we have a strong instructional program at Big Bend. Again, that is the degrees and the certificate programs. But we can also transform those programs based on the needs of our community. One example of that is we are currently going through the process of getting approval to provide a Bachelor's of Applied Science at Big Bend Community College, a typical two-year institution. The emphasis of that applied science degree is in business management. And again, the reason that we chose that degree and that we really went in the business management arena is because of our discussions with our local industries. What they have found is that their current employees, as well as potential employees that they've been interviewing, really don't have the skills in business management, and it's the soft skills, especially of leadership, supervision, those are critically imperative to being successful as an industry. So right now we're going through that approval process. We're very excited, it looks promising. The challenge that we face in the for-credit side of community college is that sometimes they can't act as quickly as in maybe the community or the industry needs. But as you can imagine with any degree program, it has a lot of oversight. And we want that. As a community, we want to know that those programs have been reviewed and are quality programs that are being offered. So those oversight bodies are not only at the local level and the state level, but there's a whole accreditation process that has to happen as well. So that can impinge a little bit on the timeliness of being able to change a program. And then we have a very robust center, career center at Big Bend Community College, and most colleges do have a career center. That's where you'll usually find the internships, the externships, the apprenticeships. And at Big Bend, we work very closely with our local WorkSource Center, and we provide a one-stop WorkSource Center directly on our own campus. It's been very successful. Another example of how we can adapt to the industry's needs is that we are going to be unveiling a new facility, state-of-the-art facility, in the fall of 2019. We applied for capital funding through the state in 2014. It was approved, and we're really happy to see the doors open in the fall. This new workforce education building is really going to be high-tech. It's a facility that's focused in manufacturing, computer science, automotive, agriculture, mechatronics, and some of those other STEM programs that we hear being used so often. And again, this is because our local industries have said these are the programs that we need. We do currently offer many of those programs, but because we were an old Air Force base, some of those programs are housed in the old Air Force building. So we just updated, and we're able to now go into a state-of-the-art facility and really provide some quality programming. We're very excited about it and look forward to that. So in continuing education, again, that's the department I oversee, the Center for Business and Industry Services. Those typically are the non-credit programs. The real advantage of having and working with continuing ed is that we can be very flexible. We can be an incubator for developing workforce training. We don't have the accreditation. We don't have the state and local review processes to go through. We work directly with the industries. We develop the programs that they need, sometimes using our instructors and sometimes contracting from somebody in Seattle or Spokane or even California. We can bring all of those resources to us. We can respond very quickly to the industries. And continuing ed has funding directly through the State Board for Community and Technical Colleges. Every 2 years, every biennium, there's $5.4 million available for funding of workforce training. In the last 5 years at CBiz, I'm really happy to say that we have funded about $2 million of workforce training in our area at Big Bend Community College. We also provide upskill training, and so that is, again, bringing that expertise to our area. We have 34 community colleges across the state. We all work together. We actually meet quarterly. We just met here at the Davenport a couple weeks ago. And at those meetings, we talk about the challenges we all face across the state of Washington, and the opportunities that we have all had, and look at the expert trainers that we're able to contract with. And so we have access to all of those same trainers. Some of the subject matter that we train in includes not only the technical training, welding and that kind of thing, but soft skills. It's a big topic and it's a focus right now, as well as the professional development, which is the CEUs. Our goal again is to create that promotability for those employees so that they are not only promotable within their own industry, but they can take advantage of other opportunities in other industries if they come up. The nice thing of working with Continuing Ed is we can take these trainings directly to the work site. And so as you can imagine, Big Bend is located in Moses Lake in the middle of the state. The closest place that really we can send anybody to a training is, if they're usually held in Spokane, Seattle, Tri-Cities, Pasco. They're never in Moses Lake, to tell you the truth. And so a typical 8-hour, 4-hour training could take 2 days for an employee. That's a lot of travel and accommodation costs that aren't really necessary if we can bring them directly to their workplace. It also, as you can imagine, really interrupts their production. And so by us being able to bring that training directly to them, it's a real advantage. Again, some of the training that we have provided, and this again is taking it directly to the industry location, is chemistry. We have a chemistry instructor at Big Bend Community College that we will take to a food processor for their quality assurance department to take a training in chemistry. Our welding department will go to a facility, and the advantage is the employees actually get to use their own equipment, work on their own issues, while they're being trained by the experts from Big Bend to do that. Project management, Six Sigma, supervision, and then electrical CEUs. All of those, again, are taken directly to the industry's location. A really interesting, thing that happened about a year ago, I guess. We were working with an industry, and one of the reasons they really wanted to do the workforce training was because they had a huge problem with turnover. And so we established a year-long training program, and they had projected 132 of their employees was going to go through this training program, and they wanted to see in the end what was the impact of that. So when we started our training program, their turnover was 13.4%. It was significant, and I understand why it was a concern for them. At the end of their project, which was a year of training, their turnover was reduced to 2.3%. So there was an 11% reduction in turnover that they felt attributed to the training program that we were able to bring to their location. So we're really proud of that. So specifically in the Moses Lake area, when I was talking to Eric, one of the things that he had mentioned was that he has seen a lot of funding coming to the Moses Lake area. And what is our model? Excuse me. We have seen success, and we have been able to bring resources and services to our area, which has been fantastic. But I don't think, as far as I'm concerned, I don't see a model, and I don't see a structure that we have necessarily. But what we do have is a shared philosophy, that we all believe that our employer success is our success. That's our guide. Every time we meet, when we're talking, it is about the excitement of helping our employers be successful. So all of our efforts are to help them remain competitive, to advance new technologies, increase employee skills, enter new markets, which our industries are doing all the time, and really to be, in general, be successful. A big key to our success in the Moses Lake area is the partners. I have to make sure you understand I am one cog of a very large wheel. there's a group of people that get together, and we are all part of the workforce development team. Our team brings all of the resources that we can find. Our goal is to access all of those resources, and we're talking money and people. I would say the key for you, if you go back to your communities, is to locate that money and resources, and so that you can develop your programming as well. So who are our partners? Well, the employers are first. That's what leads us. And we get those employers through maybe connections that we have already, or it's cold calling. Because some employers don't know what they don't know. And until we call them to let them know that there's workforce training available, that there's funding to help support them, they don't even know what's available. So there's some cold calling that happens with our industries. We work with our regional workforce development councils. They've been key to get us going on the right track and submitting grants to help support with funding as well. The Port of Moses Lake has been phenomenal. I will say I think that they really were the key to getting us going in the right direction. It was a big step, because we've been meeting, our resources have met before, but we really didn't do a good job of bringing employers into it. And they did. So now around the table, it includes not only the employers, the regional workforce districts, the port districts, economic development councils. We have the school districts coming, our Job Corps, and our workforce center partners, and that's Employment Security, SkillSource, Veteran Services, DSHS, and OIC. All of those partners are typically sitting around a table. Other statewide resources can also be accessed. A couple, just as an example, that have been really helpful for us, and sometimes in the political arena. Washington Business Association, that's been a great resource for us, as well as the Chamber of Commerce. So, like I said, I don't think we have a model, but we have been fortunate, and I think the strategies that we've been able to implement to reach the place that we are right now, and we continue to work towards, is being progressive. I think we have a progressive thinking group. And like I mentioned, I think the Port of Moses Lake was really the most progressive. They were active, they were progressive with the strategic planning and bringing us all into that loop. That was critically important. Another strategy is that we clarify the purpose of the group. We begin with the end in mind. We think out of the box. We don't let the old influence the future. That's easy to do because we all, hopefully we don't say it too much, but it's all how it's always been done. We just can't say that anymore. Things are different. So we can't rely on the old habits, the old ways that we used to do it. Inviting the partners and include the employees. So important, I can't emphasize it enough. To cultivate trust with the partners. Remember that your intent is achieving the employer's success. Keep that in the forefront. Coordinate your actions by meeting regularly, knowing what each other is doing, talking about the challenges that we've heard of, initiatives that we're working on. That's been a real strategy that we have implemented, and it's been helpful for our success. And then collaborate. Collaborate as much as you can. Collaborate generously. So where's our future going? Well, in Central Washington, we have a thing we call the brain drain. Kids grow up thinking in Moses Lake, I don't know if you're familiar with it, right now we have about 23,000 in the city of Moses Lake, but it's a small rural area in the counties that we serve. We have kids that feel like they need to graduate from high school and leave. They usually need to go to Seattle, that's what they think. And so I have to say, I grew up in Seattle, I grew up in Renton. Never once did it ever occur to me that I'd have to leave Seattle. If you go up the I-5 corridor, there's any job you could ever imagine across the 90 corridor. I mean, there's jobs all around. Never imagined that would be the case. I raised my two sons in Moses Lake, and that's the whole time they were going through high school. They were saying, well, where am I going to go after this? Because they couldn't imagine themselves in Moses Lake. So our focus right now is how do we educate our communities, and especially our younger generations, about the careers that they can access right here, right in their own backyard. So what are our opportunities? Career-connected learning is a big opportunity that we took advantage of. It was supported by a grant through the state of Washington. It currently is housed out of the North Central Education Service District. And this is actually an individual that her job is to connect with local industry. We believe that if the kids can't see it, they believe they can't be it. And so the job is help them understand what those jobs are, connect them, K through 12 as well as college. We have students and we even have families touring, going to the industries, touring the industries, because all you see are the big buildings, you know, that a food processor is in. You really can't even imagine how the quality kind of job and career that they can have in that facility. So we do that. They interview employees. They get details on what the positions are, what the wages are, and that gives them something to work on towards their education. We're currently looking for an industrial connection specialist that's being supported through the Employment Security Department. The focus of that position is to really look at recruitment. Recruitment for our local industries. They know what the positions are, and they know everything about them. They seek out recruitees. They go across the state. They work with veterans associations. They get themselves out there and they try to recruit to our area. And of course, they also are kind of like the Chamber of Commerce, because people have to want to go where the jobs are. So they have to let them know what Moses Lake and the surrounding areas have to offer them as well. But that's an important position, and we've already seen some impact by that as well. And then we tend to have the traditional and the specialized job fairs. Even though those go way back and it's something that's been done forever, they really are still successful. Industries feel that they have the opportunity to talk directly with candidates, and candidates feel like they have the opportunity to be heard by industries. So we still do offer job fairs, usually on a quarterly basis. Where are we going with our workforce development? Well, we continue to prepare for industry growth. We are seeing a lot of growth in our area. There's a large facility down in Adams County that just announced last week a $300 million expansion to their food processing. That means 180 new jobs in our area. So when you were talking about where are these people coming from, it really is the outlying populations is what we're looking at. How do we continue to be responsive to industry needs? And that's not only skills and programming, but it is because of those expansions of the facilities. We look at employee recruitment. Again, it's the populations with barriers, it's the youth, and even those of us on the silver tsunami. We have some things to offer. And we are recruiting from all of those populations because we have down in Adams County, we have 180 jobs to fill. And this is a population of, I think in Othello, I want to say it's either 6,000 or 9,000 total population. So 180 jobs is huge. So we look at all the outlying populations that we can access for those. We continue to upskill, which creates promotability. And then as those employees are upskilling, we look at the backfilling efforts as well. How can we backfill with new employees? But they have to be set up for success. So we have to make sure that the training is there for them so that when they enter the workforce, they're prepared to do so successfully. Some of the challenges that we have incurred in the last several years is, anytime you have a new relationship, trust can be an issue. And so we continue to build trust with not only our partners, but the industries trusting that, we are looking at all the resources, we're looking at everything that is available to us to bring to them. One of the challenges is overwhelming industries. With all of the resources that I mentioned, we all have goals. We all have things that we want to accomplish. And so how do we do that so we don't overwhelm an industry? They don't get 5 calls from 5 different service providers saying that they can give them money or they have training for them. It is really that coordination effort that makes it key and streamlined for the industries. Sometimes there's territorial struggles because, like I mentioned, we all have goals with our jobs. But what we have found that if we continue to work on win-win solutions, those territorial struggles are diminished. Moving target of need, because an industry one day will say, this is huge for us, we have a big need, we really need to address this. And then 6 months later, it's something else just as big, just as important, and it can be a moving target. So again, I want to emphasize the fact that through your community college, if you have one located in your area, the continuing education department is a great way to address that. And then I think we all have a challenge of time. There's just never a time to achieve anything we want. With all of the resources that I mentioned, we all have goals. We all have things that goes into Washington State specifically. It does actually review 3 different states, but Washington is one of them. I would recommend that if you can access that, I would. It is through the Urban Institute. It was published in June of 2018, so it's pretty current. If you'd like me to send it to you, drop off your business card or something, I'd be happy to forward it to you electronically tomorrow as well. And then the other resources that you see around that slide are all of the resources that we typically use. Those are all of the resources that sit around our table and work on workforce training. And I would just, I guess, emphasize that when you go back, if you don't have contacts at these resources, that should be your number one goal, is to get your contacts for each one of these and call them and start to collaborate. That's what we do in Moses Lake and through our service district of Big Bend Community College. We collaborate with the resources, we bring them together, we brainstorm, we listen to the employers because that's most important. We want to bring what they need, not what we think they need or what we hear in the papers of what's most important. Keep those employers first. I would also like to offer, if anybody doesn't know who their continuing ed department is at their community college, feel free to let me know that. I'd be happy to do an email introduction for you. Again, we meet quarterly. I know most all 34 colleges continuing ed departments, and I'd be happy to forward that to you as well. So I think, just in the end, remember, successful employees equals successful industries, and we're all working towards successful communities. So thank you very much for having me. I really appreciate it.